Hi, my name is Bailey, and this is vlog number 1. So for today, I'm going to be discussing the constitutionality of gang membership as an aggravating factor. So prior to the Foreman versus Georgia case, um, state state penalty statutes didn't really offer any guidance to jurors when it came to determining if a defendant would actually be sentenced to death after being convicted of a capital crime. So, following the Furman case, a significant number of states sought to fix this problem by requiring at least one aggravating factor be found before imposing the death penalty on an individual. Now, with this requirement of a presence of aggravating factors, a vast majority of states now include at least 10 aggravating factors in their sentencing statutes. Now, of the 32 states with active death penalty statutes, 5 of them have statutes that include gang-related factors. So of the 5 states, my main focus for today is on Florida, simply due to how vague its wording is in the statute. So it simply just says a capital felony has been committed by a gang member. So essentially, in the state of Florida, once a jury finds that a defendant has committed a capital crime, if it is found that they have any associations or affiliations with like a gang, there's a possibility that they could be sentenced to death. So this linking of gang affiliation and capital punishment presents a couple of constitutional problems. So the potential of capital punishment based on gang membership goes against the First and Eighth Amendment. Now, I know what you might be thinking, how on earth could it go against both of those? So the First Amendment, so of course it protects your freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, but it also protects your freedom of association. So essentially, that means you can't be prosecuted for your affiliation with any kind of group. So that could go as far as on the more mundane spectrum of being associated with the NAACP, all the way to being in the Ku Klux Klan, or at least for today's discussion, being involved in a gang. So then when it comes to the Eighth Amendment, so part of the Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment from being imposed. So those two kind of go hand in hand together. So, you're convicting someone and you're finding them, an aggravating factor would be them being in a gang will sentence you to death. So that would be like cruel and unusual punishment for their association with a group. Now, Florida's justification for this statute is that it deters gang membership and curtails crimes committed by gang members. Now, according to the ACLU, there is no credible evidence that the death penalty deters any kind of crime, and they've determined that it doesn't deter crime any more effectively than, let's say, a long-term imprisonment. So states that utilize the death penalty don't have lower crime or murder rates compared to states that don't utilize the death penalty at all. So people commit crimes for various reasons. They could be in the heat of passion, they could be under the influence, they could be mentally ill, and this being in the heightened state, being under the influence, not being in your right mind, doesn't allow time or really any thought to the possible consequences of your actions. So is this a current problem? Yes, it very much so is. So as of this year, the statute is still in place in Florida law, meaning that anyone convicted of a capital crime, just due to their affiliation, is at risk of their membership being used against them. Now, are there any solutions to this problem? Now, on the surface of it, I feel like the first obvious solution would be to amend the statutes and remove it completely from Florida law. So the state has specific goals like determining gang crime and membership. So I believe it would better serve Florida to target the root of the problem, so working earlier rather than later. So they can do this by creating like outreach programs. So when I was doing some research, I had found that in the Miami-Dade area, they are already implementing gang outreach programs to identify like at-risk children, reach out to them through school, and intervene before any delinquency has even occurred. They are also targeting teens that are already involved in gangs, and working with teens and their families to foster communication and help these teens make better choices. So yeah, that was vlog number 1, and thank you guys for coming and watching and listening. Bye.